Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 155 of the Note Coach podcast, the true episode 155. If you were listening a couple of episodes ago, I had a slight snafu with the numbering, but this is how I roll. Today, I am welcoming the fabulous Dr. Manuela Powell. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
And we are going to be talking about being nice is slowly killing you. So for the people pleasers in the house, or even the people who are like, I'm not a people pleaser, I'm just a nice person, this is the show for you. So Manuela, where do you want to start with this? Putting you on the spot.
Well, I like that you said that second part of like, even people who don't necessarily identify as people pleasers, but I'm just very nice. Selfless is a word that gives me the heebie-jeebies because it's like, it means like you have no self anyway. So I think that's a good point too.
Yes, I've never thought about that before. I just had to pause for like a moment. Selfless as in you have no self. That's not something to aspire to.
No, and that's what we hear. I remember hearing this like obituary or whatever you call it, eulogy or something, and like, oh, she was so selfless. I'm like, that is the last thing that I want on my damn obituary, because there's like selfless and there's selfish. I think we need something in the middle, which I like to think as selfful, which is just like, you're not selfish as in you still want to help people, right? That's what I think of myself. I love helping and I love giving myself to people in my terms, in my capacity, but not to the point of the killing you part, right? Like sometimes we're so nice that we just get sick from it.
Yes, and I love how you said self-full there, because I remember reading something, or maybe it was my son. I don't know. I was somewhere recently and there was somebody saying, well, you're just full of yourself, aren't you? Like, as in insulting. And they're like, well, what else would I rather be full of? And I thought, what a comeback. Like, seriously.
Right. Which is so true, because we are full of other people and ideas. And I think that is the whole point of the people pleasing thing, is that we just assimilate all these ideas and conditioning, especially as women, right? We have this, well, you have to be nice, you have to not make waves, you have to make sure everybody's fine, etc. I'm like, well, where's me in that? And a lot of times it really, I totally agree that we should be kind and we should, do whatever it takes to, just be a good person, but not to the point where you're giving away yourself, or you're letting go of what you need for yourself because of others.
The thing that reminds me of, a few years ago, they have this someone I love it when I give an example and I can't give the name of it, and somebody either sends me an email or comments on the YouTube's like, you meant this. But there's a festival somewhere in the world, this is how vague it is, but someone's going to get it, where they make like statues and sculptures and they put them up for a limited period of time and then they take them down, and they do it annually or every second year. But one of the sculptures or things was of an adult, and basically they'd pulled out parts of themselves. Have you ever seen it? They pulled out parts of themselves, and that's how they made the child. So when you saw the big full sculpture of the adult, they were full of holes, and the little tubes of cylinders was to make the other person. And I was like, that's basically, to me, the definition of a people pleaser, with extracting from self to give to others. And I love how you said, we're taught to be nice, because the thing is, we can never fully be nice, because what is nice to one person isn't to another. So like for me, if I go somewhere and you're like, what would you like to drink? That is not a nice statement, because my nervous system's like, I don't know what there is. I don't want to ask for too much. I start panicking. So I'll just be like, water or nothing, whereas nice would be, hey, I've got water, tea, coffee, juice, Coke. What would you like? So that's true. Nice. So, in aspiring to be nice, whereas someone else, if they were given options, that might not be nice to them, because then there's too many choices and then they start freaking out. So, yeah.
I read this, there's this professor at NYU, her name is Tessa West, and she said that the culture of niceness just creates a lot of problems, because people never know what anybody else is thinking. There are some people, I know people that I I genuinely don't know if they like me or not, or if they, because they're just so, you know, that they're doing that because they have to. And I was like, I don't even know. So you feel like so uncomfortable with these people, right? Whereas people that if you call them and say, hey, I don't know, do you want to go to, I'm a person, if you call me and say, hey, do you want to go to the movies? I'm like, sure. What depends? When?
What is it?
What time? What kind of music? What kind of movie? Because like action movies, no, I don't. It's very, you know, and I will not go like to an action movie. If you call me to go to an Avengers, whatever movie, like, no, just, I'll meet you after or before. I just don't want to go. And there's lots of people that you feel like you can't do even something simple as that, let alone the bigger things in closer relationships with your partners and kids and parents, most likely to people please and let yourself, your actual self go, like in the sculpture, you mean, right? Just take a piece of you and give to them.
Yeah. And then sometimes by being nice, to say someone said, hey, do you want to go to a movie? And you said yes, without us asking when or where or what time or what movie, because you wanted to be nice. And then it turns out that, you know, say, because the Avengers, how many of them are there? Like 40 freaking movies. It's a whole bloody universe.
No,
but imagine, so someone invites you, you say yes. And then after 40 friggin' Avengers movies, you're in a public toilet someday washing your hands and someone says something to you and you're like, oh, I hate Avengers. And that other person's in the stall. What would they think overhearing that? They probably think, and she's never said anything to me. They don't think you're being nice. They probably think, oh, what, you know, so whereas if you'd said up front, thanks so much, as you said, I'll meet you afterwards. I'll meet you before. Is there something else showing? That's kind.
Yeah, you can say, I want to hang out. I want to hang out with you. I don't want to go see this movie. Or like, I'm a very picky eater and I live in Texas, which everything is very spicy. There's like Tex-Mex food, which I really don't like. So a lot of times oh, do you want to go have dinner? I was like, yes, where? And if they say a place like that, I'm like, you know, would you be able to open to something else? Because I can go to a place like this and just like figure something out, which is fine sometimes. I don't mind. But it's maybe let's go to a place where we both can enjoy the food, right?
I think that's the thing.
Maybe they're like, no, I really want to have Tex-Mex today. Fine. They know that people know that you can do that to me because I will say if I don't want to do it. You know, I will tell you, like, absolutely not. I will not do that.
And I think there's an inherent safety in that relation work. You know the person to ask. So say for me, if there are days where you just want a compliment, like you just want someone to say, you're doing great, bitch. So when you phrase the question, like, I know who to ask, because sometimes there'll be the people who are the loving but fixers. Have you tried? And it's like, I'm not available for a have you tried today. I just need to be told you're awesome. But there are other days where I'm just like, this isn't working and I need someone who's going to tell me like it is. And knowing those people in your life who are going to say, you know, have you tried this? And trusting that the people in your life can hold you, and you know, and how you communicate that with them is with boundaries. So like if people message me and I'm like, so do you want Coach Sue's answer or friend Sue's answer? And most of the time they'll be like, can I have both? I
totally say that too. Yeah, I totally say that too, because it's different answers for each, right? And I think one of the things is like asking for what you want, because a lot of times the people pleasing is like, you don't even know what would happen if you told the person what you actually think about that. And that is a part when I say that being nice is slowly killing you, it's because in my past life, I was a breast cancer surgeon, as you know, and I would see these women who would come to my office at 40 or 50 at an age that you're not supposed to be getting cancer. And they did their Pilates and they ate their kale and they did everything right. And they, you know, everything is so, but you can see because of the interaction that they have when they came to my office, be it with their partners or with their mothers or with someone, you can see the interaction. And I would totally notice that that person's like, yeah, you did everything right, except do you say what you really mean? Do you do things that you really want? Have you been on countless vacations that were not the vacations you wanted to be in because your partner or your friends wanted to go and you thought it would be rude to say something different? And I've seen this so many times. And I think that is the part that we just forget exists. And then we're like, well, I'm having, you know, my hair is kind of falling off a little bit and I have these gut issues that are kind of weird, or an actual autoimmune disease. An autoimmune disease to me is like, you really need to like stop going to doctors, go to a therapist or a coach. That's going to help you way more, because that is 100% something that you're probably resenting, or there's something that is not just biological, because obviously it's not saying that, you know, people pleasing causes cancer, but it's one of the things. You need the genetic, you need the environment, you need that part from inside too, from your immune system not being able to fight the cancerous cells, because you're just so weakened by not being able to be yourself and say what you want to say.
And I think that's the point that you raised that really sticks out. What would happen? Often we don't know. Like if we really spoke up and said, no, thanks, I don't want to go on that holiday, I just want to stay home this year. Or, you know, what would actually happen? And sometimes there may be pushback, or there may be entitlement, or there may be resentment on the place of the other person. But how much of that have we created by years and decades of not speaking up, often getting to the point where we haven't? Like, I love the people pleaser being described as the exploding doormat, because I could see that in my own life. It's like I kept an unknown checks and balances sheet in my head, and I would get to the point where it was like, okay, now it's my turn. And the other person had no idea. They didn't know there was a checks and balance sheet. They didn't know. So then I kind of honestly came across as rather demanding. I will own that. And I was like, far out, I wouldn't want to hang out with her either.
Yeah. And that's why I think, you know, in my mind, I have like 5 steps. They're like, okay, stop being people pleaser and actually create some boundaries. And in those steps, there is actually just practicing communicating things clearly and directly. And of course, if you have always been a people pleaser and now you decide you're not anymore, the people that are close to you, you're going to have to teach them, right? So you're going to have to say, hey, I know I used to be available for this. I know that this is how things used to go. I'm not available for that anymore. And here's how things are going to go now. Are you okay with it? Right? Because the problem is we really imagine like, oh, I want to do everything to make everybody feel good. So I want to do what people expect of me, but you don't ask what they expect of you. You assume what they expect of you, right? And they're like, let me go do this thing that obviously they, you know, like obviously they want this. For instance, with my ex-husband, while we were married, my love language, which was a revelation by our relationship, by the way, because we didn't know this. So my love language is acts of service. So the fact that I would fold his laundry, for me, it was like, this is huge, right? He has no idea this is a thing. To him, like, you can throw all his laundry in the thing, like, it's totally fine. He is not reading this as me doing something for him. Once we did that little quiz thing and we know, oh, this is how I made, he started making the bed in the morning. He doesn't care to make the bed. I actually asked my kids, now that we're separated, if he made the bed just as an experiment. And they're like, no, he doesn't make the bed in his house because it's not important to him. Right? That doesn't matter, but he did it because he knew it mattered to me. So it's not like, oh, if he loved me, he would always make the bed. No, he doesn't know it's important. The same way that, I don't know, if his love language would be like words of affirmation, I don't know that just telling him whatever it is, you know, that I'm thinking, like that is a thing that to him is like, oh, she loves me. And that's how we show love. Right. So we don't know what people expect of us. So here I am folding his laundry because I'm like, well, you know, he's going to be so happy and he's never happy about that. So like, and then you get mad because I did all this for you. And it's like, what'd you do for me? I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Right?
this is such a great point.
Because it doesn't register to them.
Because if his love language, say, for example, was words of affirmation, and you're folding the clothes showing your love language, like, I'm doing this for you, and he doesn't give a shit. And he's like, I just want to hear that you love me, or I'm amazing, or I'm a good dad, or whatever. And you're like, well, I know those things. I don't need to tell you. And it's kind of like, I think this is the touch point here, the mind reading aspect of people pleasing. It's like, I've done all this for them. Do they even want that done? Because it's funny. I can see sometimes with my kids, I was like, I ask them to do one thing and they'll do 5 other things and be all proud of themselves. And I'm still annoyed because they didn't do the one thing I actually asked for. I don't care if you tidied your room. I didn't ask you to tidy your room. I wanted you to unstack the dishwasher.
Yeah. And that is the problem with the people pleasing, because you assume, there's all the assumptions, right? That is the first thing. And I think one of the things we can do that just immediately makes relationship better is just clarify things and do not assume things. Just go and ask, right? Just go like, hey, right now, you know, there's the dishwasher to be stacked, there's the laundry to be folded, there's the trash to be taken out. I was like, hey, I don't know, what do you want to do? That I don't just go and ask people. Or, you know, even the vacation thing. I know we go every year to whatever this one place. Would you be open to maybe exploring something different this year, or staying home, or whatever? And maybe they'll say, oh my God, no, this is the most important thing in my life, and if we don't go to this place every single year, I will die. Okay, then you can decide. Do you want to go and do this again? Or maybe you're going to be like, you know what, I get it. So how about you go there and I'll go do something different, because that's not as important to me. And it's fine if in relationships, be them romantic or whatever, if you do things separately. It doesn't mean you love people less.
My husband and I often do things separately.
Might save your relationship. Yeah, because why not? You're different people. Like, you're not the same.
I want to go, he wants to stay home. We are both happy.
Totally. Yeah, because if you went, right, if like I hate parties, I was like, I don't want to go to a party. I don't care. Like, you know, and some sure, if it's a close friend, and there are exceptions, but like in general, I do not go to I don't want to go to a place there's a billion people that I don't know. I don't like that. So I would, instead of FOMO, I have the JOMO, you know, the joy of missing out. Like, yeah, you go. Oh my gosh, you go, please. And that can save your relationship. But like, you have to ask, you have to see what because you might be saying yes to, let's say you were in a relationship, and your partner comes and say, hey, we're invited to this thing. And you're like, oh, damn it, I don't want to go. Like, oh, okay, oh, cool, yay, great. And then the partner is like, damn it, I hate going to these things. Why do we have to go? So both of you hate going to these things. And both of you are making yourselves go because you really didn't stop it. Do you want to go? Do you like these things?
Yeah, this is so awesome. Well, I have to wrap it up there because we're at time. So, Manuela, what do you do and where can people find you?
I am a life coach for women in the most wonderful time of their lives, which is after 40. And they can find me in my website. My website have all my information, manuelapowell.com. And I hang out on Instagram, most likely to find me. So
perfect. I'm just going to spell that out for everybody because, you know, I don't do show notes. It's Manuela P. I'm going to have to do it again. ManuelaPowell.com, and go check it out and follow her on Instagram and Facebook and all the places, because Manuela has the most fabulous posts. They're totally fire.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.